Remember an entrepreneur guy I met in Asia once, he told me something along the lines of $1 he earned working for himself was better than $2 earned, working in a corporate world, right?
Talk about building the communities. Like, what do the communities rally around? What's the goal? What's the pursuit?
For me, I feel that it's about driving innovation in the industry, right? So I spent a lot of years doing that on the carrier side we kind of drained the pond on that one, I think. But now I'm doing it from the outside, right? And there are so many different angles to the insurance industry, and they're all ripe for innovation. And the thing is that you can't do it on your own. In the olden days, we used to sit in our cubes, and if we were being innovative, if we researched something on the internet and brought it into a conference room and talked with our peers about it, right? But nowadays, the ability to mash up and bring people together with different backgrounds and skills and stuff like that is amazing. Not to mention the way it helps to bring talent into the industry as well, right? So entrepreneurship and innovation has brought a lot of new talent into the industry over the last few years. And I don't know that people are really thinking of it that way, right? But we know that the insurance industry has a bit of a talent crunch, whether you're on the distribution side or the carrier side or anywhere in between. The future isn't looking as bright when you look at bodies coming into relative bodies going out of the industry. Certainly some of that slack is going to be picked up on the technologies and the innovations coming out. So all the more reason why we've got to push the needle forward on innovation. But the communities themselves are really just about bringing those people together and making those connections happen. We do other things too, like we do hackathons, we have an annual pitch event, and we do a lot of partnership and collaboration events with other organizations too.
So it's to get the information out about all the different InsurTech solutions that are out there.
That is definitely a part of it. It's really about putting opportunities together, putting people together to create opportunities, right? Whether it's startups looking for VC, an experienced person in the industry looking for their next role, and students, we do a lot of work with getting students engaged and involved in the stuff that we're doing, helping out with teaching at University of Connecticut at times. Got involved this summer in an actuarial boot camp for high school students organized by a local organization called CTIFS. So it's more than just the work that happens at our events. It's really ties back to community, but it's all meant to help drive the industry forward.
Yeah, that is interesting. What kind of trends are you seeing? Like, I'm sure it's not exactly how you started it, right? So what kind of things have you seen come about from putting all these cool people together?
Well, I'd say one of the wildest things here also is that I didn't set out to do any of the stuff that I'm doing today, right? I just wanted to get together as an insurance IT guy. I wanted to get together and talk with other insurance IT guys about how is tech going to disrupt our industry, right? I've kept an open mind to the things that come at me. Rewind the clock to 2015. If you would have told me like, oh, you're going to be skiing with a group of investors and startup CEOs that you pulled together, where the people in the room had a total market cap of $6 billion, I'd have been like, haha, yeah, right. Like, I don't even ski, right? That's the honest truth, right? So our first ski trip event that I collaborated with David Gritz, who does the InsurTech New York community with Tony Liu. David and I partnered on this ski trip event first in 2022. Yeah, 2022. And when I agreed to do it with him, I said to him, I said, oh, great. Now the only thing I have to do is learn how to ski because I had never skied in my life, right? And it's just things like that, the opportunities that have come out of just moving forward with an open mind and asking myself, how can I, instead of thinking of why it's hard or why I can't, right?
Yeah.
And also, I'd say mindset-wise, I realize now that we can all just make more pie. In the corporate environment, it was kind of like, there was an annual budget. This is what we were spending in IT this year. And really the only way people felt like they were getting ahead in their IT careers when they got bigger slices of the pie. But because the pie was fixed, in order for someone to get a bigger piece, that meant somebody else had to be getting a smaller piece, right? It was like really hard to have that growth mindset. That I think that's a big part of what has driven me out in entrepreneur land too, is the fact that, hey, you know what, you do the same thing I do. That's cool. How do we collaborate? How do we do it together? Maybe we can make the pie bigger, right? So just a very different world.
Yeah, the corporate world is protect the pie and then keep layering with more managers. I don't understand that whole idea, but it's tough.
It's also an indication that you're doing well, right?
Right. Yeah.
You guys know the Peter principle? I guess I'd have to Google it to make sure I get it right, but it's something along the lines of, in corporate, people get promoted to their highest level of incompetence.
That's
So once you get to a level where you're not getting promotions anymore, it's because you're not competent enough for the next level. So
Right.
you're at the peak of where you're reaching your incompetence.
And then I'm sure time has to play in that, because at some point I've been with them so long, I should just be promoted. That comes in where it's
That's part of the mentality of
Yeah.
that world, right? Where it's, I don't want to say entitlement, because people work hard. They want to feel like they're growing. Sometimes it's hard to tell, is it change that you want, or is it actual growth? And is it growth in what? In corporate world, they do a really good job of keeping us focused on this thing they call a title, right? So that whole manager concept, right? It ties back to that as well, right?
It's funny.
Well, just title means so much, right?
Yeah.
In entrepreneurial world, call me what you want.
Janitor, call me janitor. I don't care. It is interesting because my wife works in that world, and like when she's, when I give ideas, usually she doesn't want an idea, but of course I offer the idea.
I'm sure that goes over well.
And you know how that goes. However, it's just the way that she'll play it back is it's always, oh no, you don't understand. It doesn't work like that here. You can't do that. It's like, well, you can't do that because you're accepting that. You can do whatever.
How does that go over?
It doesn't go over well.
I mean, it is tricky. I understand. I lived it for 20 plus years, right? And I understand is what I could say. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's really good for having framework for people to come out and be solid contributors in society and do well for themselves, right? Not everybody is willing to throw the hat on, jump on the horse, and just start heading west, right? Like that's scary crap. I can tell you firsthand.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's a good point. It's probably, the vast majority of people fit better into that role where they need the structure, they need the direction. There's the crazies that are like, I don't care. I'd rather work 80 hours to not have to work 40 hours.
Yeah, I remember an entrepreneur guy I met in Asia once. He told me something along the lines of, he used to work in corporate and then he was an entrepreneur when I met him. And he said that he felt that $1 he earned working for himself was better than $2 earned, working in a corporate world, right? And that's just how some people feel. Again, it doesn't make people in corporate bad or wrong. It's just, it's different, right? And your comfort zone is typically on one side of that fence or the other.